Welcome to Azure this week. We are at the Ignite tour in Sydney. So Microsoft Ignite, big conference that happens in Orlando. There's a tour, which is a smaller part of it, that happens in Sydney and a lot of other cities around the world. And we're here. More specifically, we're here, the Sydney Nanoscience Hub, which is kind of cool because nano is cool, right? No, this is where the future of computing is happening. This is where one of the efforts of Microsoft research in quantum computing is taking place. There's 6 places around the world. Sydney University is one of them that is in cooperation with Microsoft. So we've just been in here. We had a presentation by Professor David Riley, who is sort of the lead researcher, scientist. He's a professor in physics, and he leads the effort of quantum computing, so to make your life better. So Professor Riley introduces to quantum computing and what it is, but sort of at a level that we understand because it's incredibly complex. We learned about something called superposition, which is if you have a normal bit in a computer, that it can be 0 or 1, you're probably familiar with that. You can have a qubit in quantum computer, which can be 0 or 1 or anything in between. You can also have a superposition, which means that 2 electrons or 2 quantum particles are connected magically. And it just means that if one quantum bit changes, the other one changes magically in reverse. It's really quite weird and my head is exploding right now, but we'll take it from there. We also had a tour of the actual facility at Sydney Uni of how they produce the quantum computing bits and what it looks like. So there's smoking, liquid nitrogen going everywhere, and you've got liquid helium that's really difficult. We were told like 5 grams of it cost $30,000 or something. It's crazy. So not a cheap exercise, but it's very, very interesting. So this is the future of computing, and maybe not in the way that you think, probably, or we don't quite know yet. But my assumption with this is that we won't have a quantum computer in our pocket like we have a smartphone today. Quantum computing would be something that is hosted in the cloud, maybe on Azure, probably, considering this is Microsoft, and it'll be something that we can connect to through our smartphones or our other computers or whatever it might be. It'll be a technology that enhances what we already can do. It's like a computer plus, I guess. The problem is that, of course, to have qubits, for example, it has to be 0.3 Kelvin, like minus 270 something degrees, incredibly cold. Really, really hard to do. We can only have about 40 qubits so far, not the thousands that maybe would be required to do some of these large computations. And it's just a really hard problem to solve, but they're doing it. If you want to know more about quantum computing though, I did actually host an episode of The Future of Tech on their Cloud Guru network on quantum computing. So go check that out if you want to know more about it. Otherwise, I will see you again tomorrow with more deliciousness of Azure news from the Ignite tour in Sydney. See you then, and keep being awesome.